Welcome back to the shop, everybody. I got my Laguna LT18 here. It's an amazing bandsaw, but it faces a problem that just about every bandsaw faces, which is when you're adjusting the fence, you're just manually moving it side to side. It's hard to really have any accuracy or precision when you're doing that, especially when you want to get into resawing thin veneers. You want very specific thicknesses for those veneers, and that takes a level of precision that this really cannot do, unless you want to get into dial gauges and all sorts of additional things, but just this is incapable of doing that. So, in just a moment, you're going to see what we upgrade this to. This fence is completely going away. Alright, we got it installed. So this is the brand new Laguna Driftmaster DXIII. They literally just started selling these. I was one of the first to order. And it basically provides a level of precision that a normal bandsaw fence does not. So some of the key features, number one, you can tell the height is way different, right? The stock fence you saw earlier is 5 inches high, and that's what comes on this industrial size Laguna LT18. This one's 7.5, so you're getting 50% more height, which is amazing for resawing. You can still flip this sideways if you need to do short stock, so you're not limiting yourself, but it is greatly more stable in terms of resawing capabilities with that added height. Another key thing, even more important than that, is how the fence moves, how it allows you to move it. So it has this wheel, and there's a scale that's calibrated to the blade distance. So I can just spin this to dial in the exact distance. My previous fence did not have a scale at all, and the only way you could move it was just manhandling it side to side, right? There's very little accuracy or precision in that compared to something like this, where I can dial in like exactly 4 inches, and then I can turn this lever, lock it down. Now I can't move it at all, and I know it's going to be precisely cut every time to that specific dimension. Additionally, if I wanted to move it the traditional way, I could undo this lever here, take that out. Now, I can still do it that way if I want to, so it's a dual mode fence. But for most uses, you keep that red part in, lock it down, and you just twist this, dial in whatever you want. Additionally, this comes separate from the fence, but it's for the fence, is this Driftmaster flip stop. And it's very, very sturdy. I'll give them credit for that. I will say there is, let me lock it down here. There is a little bit of play to it, a little bit, but it's overall very sturdy, very thick, and just flips right out of the way. But the reason this can be handy is if you're doing joinery on a bandsaw, like if you're doing tenons, if you're doing dovetails, you want to make sure you don't saw too far, and using a flip stop is a perfect way. You just put it under this side of the blade, right? And now, let's say doing a tenon shoulder, and now I just run it right through, it hits the flip stop, boom, I've hit my depth, and I can just do board after board after board, and I'm going to nail the same depth every time and have good joinery. So that's the flip stop. There's also all sorts of things on here to calibrate squareness of the fence, to do blade drift if you need to adjust the angle of the fence. A lot of different calibrations. But that is the Laguna Driftmaster DXIII. So that is my new upgrade for my toy. Alright, you're about to get my first-hand experience with this fence. I'm just taking a random wall board. I'm just going to try to cut some veneers and see how it goes and see what my initial impressions are. Alright, so I cut 4 pieces of veneer just now, and what I learned is, at least with the blade I have and everything, if I do 3/4 of a turn and make a cut, that gives me almost perfect 1/8 of an inch, which is great if you're doing veneer, right? At first I was doing a 1/2 a turn, and that was just a little too thin as far as aiming for an 1/8 of an inch, but 3/4 of a turn was like right there. If I wanted to give myself some wiggle room, I could just do a full turn each time, and a full turn is a 1/4 inch as far as movement, but then you take in the blade consideration and everything, and it lowers it. But yeah, 3/4 turn is probably what I'll do anytime I need to make veneer or anything like that. But first impression is, this is awesome and exactly what I wanted. With the normal bandsaw fence, you can't just keep making cuts like this and have any sort of accurate results, or repeatable results, I should say. Normally, you would make a cut, you would go join it, make another cut, join it, make another cut, join it. So you're losing a lot of material in the joiner. But with this, because it's so repeatable with the wheel and how far it moves, you can just keep making cuts using the same jointed edge along the fence the entire time, and that is a money saver in itself because you're not losing out on material.